land is vested in the president.
Yeah. Because of desperation, a lot of people are going to Sabhuku who ask for something. They get a piece of land, they build their house, there is a dispute, and the chief tells them,
How can such an issue be dealt with? If I want land, for instance, how would I go about it? Hello, this is Expertly Speaking. I am Farai Mwakutuya, advocate. Fortune Chassis is my guest again today as we tackle a very topical issue. It is what people popularly refer to as Sabhuku land deals. Perhaps let's break that down first. What is a Sabhuku land deal?
Well, in terms of rural governance and or administration, Sabhuku is a very important person responsible for their village. They have capacity to make certain decisions pertaining to disputes within their area. But what also happens in reality is that sometimes they overreach their mandate. But let's put this in the context of land in the country. As you know, as far as the African population is concerned, land has always been an issue. It is still an issue. We still have lots of people who have no access to land. We're not even talking about farms. Yeah. We're talking about just a place to reside. If you're talking about the urban situation, and then a place to reside and eke out a living in the rural areas. Now, so it historically has been a problem. Yeah. Some effort has been made to resolve it, but it's an ongoing process. So if you look at, for example, those farms which were taken during the land reform program, what has happened is that people that used to live in the compounds or the company, people that used to work on the farms, a lot of them have moved into the communal land area. Partly because the new person doesn't want them or is not operating optimally to give them
all employment.
Yeah, so they now need somewhere to stay and somewhere to farm. So that has put a lot of pressure. I come from Chiweshe in Mazoe, and it's really a problem. In one area, we have seen actually the creation of makomboni in the village, where people are really packed like sardines. So I think that dramatizes the situation of land. And also, I think we've been talking about informalization and, during the times when industry is not employing as many people, people look to the rural areas as a fallback position. Even people who retire, they are staying in Harare, maybe they are staying in some small company house, or they have their house in Highfields. Life becomes tough. It's easier to survive
in the rural.
Yeah. So the Sabhuku now has a great deal of power over land. But they forget that the land belongs to the president constitutionally. Yeah, all land belongs to the president constitutionally in terms of Section 282. So the most they can do is to recommend the parceling out of land, to make a recommendation to the local authority for that area and have it done formally. But because of desperation, a lot of people are going to Sabhuku who ask for something. They get a piece of land, they build their house, there is a dispute, and the chief tells them, "Ivoire tengeswe." So your agreement was unlawful, and of course he or she takes their own administrative action against those Sabhukus.
All right. So just taking you back, as you said, land is vested in the president.
Yeah.
And as you quite rightly said, it cannot be sold.
Mm.
Does the president have the discretion to say, okay, perhaps this we are happy to sell? Is he empowered to do that, for instance?
Well, obviously, it doesn't descend to the village level and operates through the various
Structures that are there.
structures, Minister of Local Government, Minister of Lands, the rural district authorities, and the chief, the Sabhuku. So he will not. I imagine if he was to give directives, okay, by chasa, by faraya,
it would be cumbersome. It would be
20 square meters.
So clearly we are seeing a huge demand and these developments are taking place
Yes.
because of that pressure that you've mentioned.
Yes.
And people are getting their fingers burnt
Yes.
out there. What is, I suppose, how can such an issue be dealt with? If I want land, for instance, how would I go about it? How is it to be done?
Yeah. So I think the point to remember is that in terms of the Communal Lands Act, Section 8, communal land cannot be sold or ceded without lawful authority. And so one needs to make sure that whatever it is they are doing, first of all, is documented and goes through the various levels of authority. Of course, there will be Sabhuku. After Sabhuku, there is the headman and the chief. The chief will have a final say on this. Otherwise, you end up suing each other, and the court may refer you to the chief. So it's very important to make sure that whatever is being done properly. The chief will understand that this person needs land, and they can then decide to open up a new area and do the needful by allocating individuals. You also need to be aware, Farai, that in the past, a father would cut up his own piece to give to his children, in fact, to his sons. This didn't apply to daughters. The assumption being that they are where they are married, but somebody can divorce and they come back. And they start fighting now because every person must find somewhere where they rest and they can organize themselves to get food. So I think there's a lot of things that really need to be done. There's a lot of pressure on raw land. I don't know to what extent it has been quantified. Because you also find some people who got farms, for example, they retain their communal land. And my own feeling is that people must relinquish that for the benefit of others who have not got a farm. So all those factors are compounding the pressure on land. And it's quite common to see, numerous pieces of land which haven't been used for years because the owner is at the farm, but still retains ownership. If somebody goes to stay there, starts building, they will come back
And say it's mine.
and fight. It's mine. You see. So I think in order to diffuse the pressure, a person munhu akapiwa farm ngaende kufarm osiya uko kana kufarm kusiri kuita odzoka opiwa mumwe munhu.
You did mention there is potential that once you've sued each other, you might be referred back to the chief. So that means there might be an overlapping, perhaps an intersection of the law as we know it, obviously, legislative law, but also our traditional legal systems. How do those interact at the moment? Which, for lack of a better term, is more powerful? Which one is more influential? Which one overrides? Is there one that overrides the other? Would the chief akazi ayo, all right, chasi zveshuma ndipack up?
Yeah, well, as long as it is raw land, the chief has the ultimate say. And if you, Farai, decide to stay Kumaruzeva, Kumusha, you can then not contend. You can be taken to the chief's court. You may not want, but you're under his jurisdiction because you stay in his area. Just like if you are in Zimbabwe, you will be taken to Zimbabwean courts. It doesn't matter that you feel you are so important that you must be taken to the United Nations or something. The local system will have jurisdiction over you. And as long as the dispute is pertaining to rural land, you will have the authority of the chief descending on you. But like you say, there are potential areas of conflict where, say, I've got a 4,000 square meter, or rather 4 hectares of land, and I say you have illegally settled on my land, and I go to the High Court and institute eviction proceedings. You can already see that you have the general law coming now to apply on an area where customary law really should be applying. So the potential for conflict is always there.
At the start of the program, you said, and I think why these Sabhuku deals become contentious is the fact that raw land cannot be sold. So in cases, as we see more and more now, where money does exchange hands, what is the status of that land? If I have paid a Sabhuku, and I suppose it then also brings in the issue of how do you prove that I paid Sabhuku? Because, but let's start with the legal status of...
So there are two issues. There are situations where the Sabhuku sells unoccupied land and pockets the money. That is criminal. Okay? Then there's a situation where I have a piece of land in the raw areas which you want to buy off me. We agree and I sell it to you. It's an unlawful transaction because raw land cannot be sold. So the parties, particularly the buyer, needs to be careful because they are the ones who are parting with money to buy the land. They are the ones who are parting with money to invest in that land, where a decision could be made to say, no, move away from there. And you have drilled a borehole, you have fenced, you have done this and that. You now leave yourself open to the magnanimity of the chief. So it's better to apply for land through the system and go through the entire system, get a piece of land under a particular village, under a particular Sabhuku, be introduced to, so that you are known to be lawfully in occupation. Otherwise, you suffer problems.
Is there anything wrong, though, where there's no money changing hands for you, as you quite rightly see, what land you are not using, or part of your land which you're not using, we should then say, Farai, you've been a great friend to me. Come and I know you don't have anywhere to reside. Here's some land where there's no money that is exchanging hands.
So you're not selling.
Yeah.
I think the only issue that arises in that scenario is that the local authority at the village level needs to know what is happening, because there are many transactions which happen along those lines, and they end up being something else. There are disputes as to the extent of the land. I told him he can use this land. There are disputes as to the duration
Of the use. Yeah.
There are disputes as to what he could do there. There are disputes now saying he's now moving slowly into my yard. He's now extending. There are common disputes along those lines. And so this is why formality is important, so that the area can be pegged and recorded and given a reference within the local land administration system, and it's documented. Then it's well known.
So as it stands, not advisable to engage in these Sabhuku land deals. No money should exchange hands. There is a system, as you are saying, where one can apply for this land. I suppose you wouldn't know, but I would imagine the reason why people don't do that perhaps is lack of knowledge, but also because it may take time, and there is that pressure and demand.
Yeah, I think the primary reason is that people may not be knowledgeable. People are just looking at it as private property, and therefore we can come up with private arrangements. But it's not exactly like that. One needs to make sure that even at the level of the rural district council, the arrangement is known. Now we have many people who want to go and settle Kumusha. I'm one of them. And so that is additional pressure. And you now have somebody with resources to drill a bore or several boreholes, put infrastructure, and so they should not take the risk of doing that without making sure that their right to occupy the land has been properly approved and has gone through the necessary approval process. Otherwise, you lose money for nothing.
Indeed. Very, very important. And I think it's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Do it properly. Make sure the proper, it's what I'm picking up from you right now is that just make sure that the appropriate authorities are aware.
Yes.
The correct procedure is undertaken. No money should change hands.
Yes.
And don't sink money before you've regularized, and make sure that all your ducks are in a row.
Definitely.
Very important. I think prudence, right, which anyone should take before they get into any sort of investment.
Yes.
But I think iyo nyaya yekuti ndezvekumamisha okay kumusha hapana azvizomboitwa follow up.
Yes.
I think that's where it comes from, where whereas in urban centers we know that there are title deeds and these sort of things.
Exactly.
Kumamisha tongoti who is going to come and bother kuti uko kwangu si ukanoti kugomo mama.
Yeah. But you see, they will come up with an X when this dispute comes, especially in a family situation. There are 6 boys. The land was left by the father, and Farai is now selling. The others who have been in town 30 years hear about this, they will descend there. There are common huge fights around that deceased estate to say, you can't do this. Wakutotengesa, I'm making money. Nina, I have 5 of my own children who should come and stay here. So, the resolution of those problems will also become quite primitive. Nobody will go to court. They will use this.
Yeah.
You see now, so it becomes a problem.
All right. As a recap, all state land, all rural land is vested and belongs to the president.
Yes.
Cannot be sold. No money must exchange hands.
Yes.
But I think, again, another important point you've come up with and you've raised is chiefs have the ultimate say and can position you or place you in a particular place if
Exactly.
you follow the right procedure.
Exactly. So, yes, formalities should be followed. That's the bottom line.
In your view, as a final question, given the dynamics we are seeing around this pressure for land, the changing dynamics where people want to, move out of, as you're saying, Makomboni, now need land, more people appreciating that rural sort of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Do we need to revisit the laws, perhaps, around this and maybe give some sort of way for this land to be allocated in a manner where perhaps people could pay for it and it could generate some revenue for rural district councils and things like that?
Yeah, so, yes, I think we need to modernize the land administration systems, have technologies. If the chief should be able to know where land is available without going there, and should be able to come up with a plan to say, okay, in that area, just like, say, the city council and the local government ministry can define and divide stands. So that, I think that would help. I'm not sure that having title deeds will necessarily be a good thing in the rural areas. I see the potential of problems being created and homelessness coming to the doorsteps of people. In the rural areas, you can have somebody with a perpetual drinking problem.
Mm-hmm.
But they have somewhere where they have their hut which doesn't have a door which closes, where they go and sleep.
And say, this is my home.
Yeah. Whereas
That is
in
the-
town, it's in First Street. Somebody just starts sleeping there on cardboard boxes. So I think it's more making the administrative system for land in the rural areas more transparent and more efficient, and also having some, controlling the influx.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to control it is not to say people must not have land, but they must go where there is. I mean, people now don't have grazing land.
Yeah.
In my area where I spoke to, it's now people have to tether the cow onto a tree, or all the goats are tethered. There is absolutely no grazing land, and as a result, numbers of livestock have dwindled.
Yeah.
And with that, capacity for somebody to plow their fields is now non-existent. So I think some level of planning and administration is very, very important to deal with that issue.
Indeed. Let's leave it here. We'll end the discussion here, but obviously want to continue the engagement with you as listeners and viewers online. If you have any comments, questions, please do post them on our chat forums and our social and digital media platforms. Would love to hear from you. It is Expertly Speaking. Join us again next time.